All right, we are live. Hey, everyone. Welcome to the Final Click Marketing Show. I'm Ronnie Soud. Today, we have a special guest on. I have Jeff Vinh here, who is the CEO and founder of Create Web Studios. Say hey, Jeff.
Hey, Jeff.
So Jeff and I have known each other, I would say for what, like 2 or 3 years?
It's been 3 years. Yeah, definitely. 2017 we met, and honestly, it was before that when we worked on that restaurant project together. So maybe
that's right.
Before that.
That's right. So today, I thought Jeff would be the perfect guest to have on today because I'd like to talk about agency life, give you guys a little bit of a window into how we started and evolved, working with clients, and I think we're going to have a lot of good insight. If you are a client and you hire an agency, give you a little bit of window into our world and how we do things and the why. And then also talk about the latest website design trends. And first, though, I'm going to let Jeff do a little bit of an intro for himself and all, because I probably won't do it justice. So, Jeff, you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Yeah, so I'm a Jacksonville native, Atlantic Beach native to be correct. And so did the whole school thing here and got into UNF. And I'm a creative, right? So I love music. I speak fluent Spanish. I just like ideas. And so I ended up in computer science, and I minored in graphic design. And this was in the very early 2000s. So honestly, the first websites I saw were in the late 90s. And at UNF, in one of the colleges, I was like the webmaster back in the day when it was like so manual and so basic. But honestly, the principles are the same. It was web pages that load. It was text and heading, kind of like any computer document has been from like the word processor on. So yeah, I did computer science. I minored in graphic design. I then worked at a large municipality here in town. So electric, water, wastewater. There's 2,000 people. There's a 200-person IT shop. And I did really well there. I coded, I got on the website, we did online bill pay, and I became a director essentially in my mid-20s. And it went really well. But it was a civil service environment, and it was just stifling. And we had like at the time, multiple tens of millions of dollars in budget. We were just kind of always in trouble. And also at the beach. And that was before work from home. And this municipality was downtown. So I just got over the drive and while I love the people I work with and I adore the leadership team there, I'm still friends with the CIO. It was there forever. I have been outed. And so that was in 2005. And I started, Create Studios. But like many people, I was just like, I can do this better. I can go out on my own. And that I did. And at the time, I had a small child, 1 year old. I won't tell you how many I have now. I have a small farm. But I had one child. The wife was the breadwinner and homemaker. So yeah, I took the risk and went out on my own. The focus was at the time web design. Online marketing wasn't so much it existed. And now, here we are, 15 years later, it's totally changed. But obviously I made it. I overcame the stats. I think about 5% of the population are entrepreneurs. And then there's the horrible statistics on small businesses. First year, 80% fail. Almost none make it past 10 years and almost none ever sell. Not that that's a
right.
So, yeah, that was the trajectory. Did the college thing, have that eye for technology, that eye for design, and I'm very, very detailed. So I will hammer anything through to the bottom. So that's a quick overview.
Yeah. So basically, Create Web Studios, your agency, is like 15-ish years old.
Yeah, it really is.
Okay.
2005, if you can believe it. It's going extremely well. Awesome. Very well.
So let me ask you this: what was your first, big initial core offering when you first started?
Sure, web design. And at that time, websites weren't commoditized or to build. This is 2005, 6, 7, and I coded and I did design and web projects.
Did you do it?
Yeah, I literally did everything, and I did everything for far longer than I should have. But hiring people and managing a team's a maturity level, an entirely different skill. So yeah, web design was the main offering. And at that time, I did about 6 months of moonlighting. I had a goal of 15 hours a week on top of the corporate job. And I got a certain amount of base, and I did some financial forecast because, these 2 projects are in progress, and here's the milestone payments and this, that, and other. And when I felt comfortable and I had a small amount of savings, I cut the cord in October of 2005, which was mainly exhilarating, but also pretty scary the first 6 or 12 months, to be honest. But it's scary anyway. There's all kinds of.
Yeah. That's interesting. Yeah. So, I mean, when I stepped out on my own, it was like 2003, 2004-ish, but I was single. And so I'm like, well, if I don't make it, I'll go, 10 bar or, do something else, right? I'll go get like a small job. So I didn't have that much pressure on me, but then at the same time, I was so young that I totally was not ready for what we got into. And, we started, and this is at the first agency that I owned, which was up in Chicago. And so we started out focused only on paid search, but we quickly got shoved into doing everything. And that presented its own growing pains, along with having to, really wear big boy pants too, because the travel and hospitality industry loved legal and contracts and that whole thing and a whole bunch of stuff that, a 24-year-old kid doesn't know anything about.
I didn't realize you were 24 at the time. You're quite a youngin'. How long did it run again?
It ran, I'm really bad with years. So Sound Marketing, which we have now, is 3 years old. Then there was like a year in between there. So, so we went for 12 years.
Okay.
In total. Yeah. Again, I'm bad with the years, but that's how long we were all kind of attached.
Yeah, how old you are? You don't have to answer that question.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm 40. Just turned 40. We had our birthday show, a couple weeks ago. But
congratulations. You made it.
Right. So then let's talk. So how were you dealing with clients back then? So you were basically a solopreneur, right?
Yeah, exactly. And this is probably the first 2 years. I quickly hired a coder overseas, and that was at the time when India was very popular. Probably remember a corporate area when it was outsourcing and all the jobs were going to go away, but India was the jam. But yeah, so I missed the question. How did I handle clients?
Yeah. So how did you initially handle clients? Did you utilize technology? And then too, how has that process changed, or evolved?
Yeah, it's evolved so much. So back in 2005, today we have Slack, Asana, Basecamp, Gmail, the cloud. I can literally, I really can run my business off the phone, and it's about 70% effective. I do leadership. So literally back in the day, there was kind of none of that. So definitely email, and also lots of in-person meetings, which is very rewarding. And we're here in Jacksonville Beach, Florida. So in-person meetings ran it. And it was just normal communication. At times I tried to do little project boards and that, but I don't know. I'd only be doing 4 to 6 websites at a time, maybe 8, and clients always stall out. So I'm really good at managing a lot of things. Not that I always do it the best. So yeah, just kind of peppered along. And if it was a big project and hot, we'd meet all the milestones. And if someone was not getting us the content and, I had a couple deals closing, I'd do it. So when it was just me, I could optimize every day. And I'm the kind of person, I don't need anyone to tell me how to do what I do. So as soon as we have an agreement, like this website, this, that, and the other, I'll get it done. So it was, I don't want to say it was hodgepodge because there was order to it, but, I just worked typical hours in a day. And, I try to avoid panics and nightmares. When a big site's going live, it's going to require a lot of time. That's a given. But yeah, I just tried to fill each day like a can of sardines. And then at the end of the day, I mean, I joked, not so much the case now because I have a great leadership team. So ideas and execution and strategy get done by the team. But at the time I had to do it all. And I joked I could work 24 hours a day. So the challenge was to find the work-life balance, or I like to say work-life harmony that is right for you. So yeah, that's the goal. I just kind of run through my project work. I did everything. So finance, sales, project management, support, all of it. But there was always more sardines in the can that can fit. But if you prioritize correctly, or I feel like with clients, or just say any project, you can buy one get out of jail card. So if you communicate every now and then, you can miss a deadline, but promise, by 12 p.m. tomorrow it's this. So that's kind of how I rolled. Yeah. When I say way too much work, it wasn't that I was flourishing, but as a business owner, there's no shortage of work, from taxes to Windows
right.
crafting, Windows laptops. So yeah, I would just pack it all in, and I always delivered. So, but that's just following through with your word, like anything in life. So I don't know if that gives an answer, but just kind of managed it. It was all in my head. It was all on paper, and I had a rhythm to each day.
So when did you start like adding technology into your mix?
You mean technology to manage the business, like the CRM or tools or stuff like that? At the time, to be honest, it really didn't matter. The websites, you had a version of Google Analytics, but it was early days, and then you maybe ran AdWords, which was text ads. So like, chiropractor, Jacksonville, Florida. So technology platforms, Google Analytics, email. Of course, I had all the design tools, this, that, and the other. But yeah, it was really just email, and the websites would be live. And I will add in one other thing. SEO was big back then. So
that was massive, yeah.
It's terrible, but it's not terrible. Everybody did it. But let's just say the client was a chiropractor. So let's just say James Chiropractic. So literally we go in and put James we put chiropractor Jacksonville, and then we'd have another page, chiropractor Jacksonville FL, another page, chiropractor Jacksonville, Florida. We'd hide all those. So that was kind of the BS back then. Your website was up. There was some form of Google Analytics. There was some form of text ads. And then everybody is all about SEO, like every realtor, every chiropractor. Go tag my site. And I got a horror story that happened in 2013 with a Google update. But in the meantime, for many years, like, that was kind of the two things: get the website live, and every realtor, client, or chiropractor just wanted to show up first. Of course, as you know, Ronnie, it is wildly changed. And on one hand, you can get so much better results, but it's never been harder, as we'll get into later, to like really get in those qualified leads online.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like when we started, I had two other partners, and so like one person was in sales, one person was supposed to manage the business. And I was in charge of digital, which is, a lot of that is pretty much the same now. But you're right. Like SEO and all was kind of SEO and websites were kind of the gatekeeper, right?
Let's qualify SEO. It's search engine optimization, right? So
yeah.
People to type in your name, and it's not an ad, but your site just coming up naturally, and the maps listings are right there on the Google page.
Yeah, so that was kind of the the gatekeeper, if you will. And paid search, we used to really have to sell. Website was getting to be something that everyone knew that they had to have, like tires on a car. SEO was like the next logical thing, right? Because everyone did want to be number one. And what we did, because we quickly found out like we couldn't do it all. We started to patch it together with contractors before we took the plunge and hired in-house. And so we went to Serbia initially. This was like years ago, and Belgrade, Serbia. And so we found a really good group of guys there. A small team, and then they would help us out with the websites. And then we found one SEO guy. Like I did SEO to a certain point, for our clients, but then, the work became too much to do the SEO and all the paid search too. So we went and found a pair of hands to help with SEO. And then, the technology that kind of brought us all together was Basecamp. And,
oh, I forgot. We totally use Basecamp and still do.
Yeah.
It's OG.
Yeah. I mean, that initial design, that they have in the functionality, like I still think it's awesome. Like we don't use anything now because it's not really necessary. But back then when we were all kind of scattered out, we were in Chicago, San Francisco, Florida, overseas, Europe and all, like we needed a tool to kind of centralize all of our communication. And, that was a lifesaver, that and Skype. Now, no one uses Skype, so it's all
I forgot all this stuff. So I was on the same stack, Basecamp and Skype actually worked really well.
It did, yeah. Microsoft bought it. and then it went down. But yeah, like that was kind of our, that was our 1-2 punch. And it's funny how that, that little marketing stack there has changed. And so I think websites today have a longer shelf life. I don't know what you think about that. I think that the designs coming out, are a lot better and a lot more evergreen, and can last like a few more years. I'm not seeing sites needing to change over like every 2 years, like what we used to see. I don't know what your thoughts are on that.
Yeah, so you're totally right. I say if you are aggressive about always wanting the newest features or whatever, 3 years, but you can hit 5 years, and we do really nice custom design. So most of our sites are not like off the shelf, and we've run into sites even recently from 2014 or 15 that still look really good. I would say the main thing that changes is being able to read everything, because when stuff went to mobile, you would have the big banner images and all the clunkiness. So honestly, it's just like a good Word document or a good PowerPoint presentation was, say, 20 years ago. You got to have the right fonts, the right spacing, right images. And now with the web being so fluid and smooth and not having issues of Internet Explorer goes this way, Safari goes this way, Chrome web browser goes this way, I think and I'm glad it's in that place, right? Because overall websites are very consistent and very usable. So every now and then there's a giant leap in evolution. Like, on the phone, a lot of times they call it the hamburger. You get those little dots and pop out. So that's a huge leap. And at the time, and it's still there, but we used to have these giant, we call them hero or banner header images, and those are still around. So at times there's been a couple of leaps, but you're totally right. And we're all the better for it. Like we as consumers of the web, and we as day to day, from restaurants to figuring out where you're going to go out to eat to like buying something. So yeah, I really like that part of it. And I'll jump in on one last thing. If you have a good foundation, website should be a living document. And a lot of business owners and companies make the mistake of like putting all this effort into a website. So they're like a commercial construction company, and then they don't update it. They don't update their staff. They don't build out the services pages. So I agree with you. The shelf life of the general layout can last a long time, but business owners should look at like a living document, and you should always be going back on a quarterly or at least every half a year basis and update that thing. If you do that, your shelf life goes way up, and you can catch a super hot trend. Like chat actually is pretty fun work. So when chat comes along, boom, you integrate it on your site. So that's what I'm seeing on the life cycle.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. How have clients changed?
I kind of know where you're going, but give me an example from your life. Like back in the day, it was this, and now it's this.
Back in the day, you used to have to deal with them, talk with them a certain way, but now we've all kind of naturally evolved, right? And so what are you seeing, in doing this for 15 years, what are you seeing hands-on, how clients have changed, their expectations have changed, their actions have changed,
Yeah, so for sure, I'll make a general statement first. No matter what industry you're in, people are people. So 80% of the people are middle of the road, 10% are like angels or inspirational or stuff, and 10% like will just kill you and ruin the other 90% of your life. But with that principle out of the way, in terms of clients buying our service, so the web design and digital marketing, in a way, it was pretty easy to sell back in the day. I think over time, information is easier to get to on anything, whether you're buying like windows for your house, this, that, and other. So clients now come really educated. But Ronnie, I was going to bring this up. Digital marketing has never been complex. It's never been harder. And websites are pretty easy to get up. They're tangible. They're concrete. Does it work? But oh my God, digital marketing is, I'll just say it, it's kind of horrifically hard. Like we do it well and get results, but a lot of thinking now is, oh, well, Facebook ads don't work for me, or, oh, we've never done social media, so it doesn't matter. Or say some big commercial construction company is like, why do we need a website? And this pandemic has taught us a lot about how powerful digital is. And we all know if you're any business owner, the journey normally starts online. Whether someone meets you in passing and they're like, oh, you're a window company, give me your information. Or when neighbors get those windows done, it's like, what, the company, where do they go first? They go to the website. And at that point, that user's not even going to talk to you. You don't even know they're there. Of course, you see a visit on your site, but you don't know it's Jeff that's visitor number 72. So I find that people really need to get educated and get smart about digital. Because Ronnie, as you noted, you were dealing with a large air conditioning, residential company in town, and they were basically getting outspent and outpaced by the competitors, even though they were a large player in the industry. So I think businesses, especially here in Jacksonville, not so much the major cities, need to get on board and need to get their marketing figured out. Because here's what happens. This last example. Hey, we're going to try Facebook ads. Like, hey, let's put $500 in. Oh, we got 700 clicks and got no business. And they kind of look at you. Or from agencies, they do get some caliber of service, but it doesn't produce those immediate results. So when they're paying, you know, 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 a month, and they're kind of like, you know, and the calls aren't being tracked and the leads and the strategy is not there. So I would say those two things. The website online marketing world has never had more opportunity, but that opportunity has to be strategically harnessed and done over time. And there's a bajillion channels from Google search to Facebook to like mobile. And then two, agencies a lot of times deliver pretty mediocre results, or like any project, get really excited in the beginning. In month 4, they're just kind of like stalling out and the client's beating them up and the relationship sours. So that's how things have changed. Before, concrete deliverables of websites, tag those pages, run some Google text ads, winning. And now there's just a plethora of strategies, options in this, that, and other. And I'm sure we'll get more into that later, but we're speaking the language now.
Yeah. So like one thing that I've noticed with clients is that they're no longer solely looking for a single vendor, you know, which I think has been a massive benefit to them. You know, a lot of times, like they want to, you know, dump everything off to one agency. It's not possible to do everything good, right? And then what happens, it's like they either do, you know, one of the things well, they do design good and, you know, digital marketing bad, and, you know, so on and so forth. And so, you know, I think we kind of rolled through that with clients, not us personally, but, you know, I think the industry kind of rolled through that for years. And so, you know, what happens is, like, you know, I saw clients start to really understand the importance of traffic. They over-focus on traffic, but I started to see them really understand the importance of traffic in trying out new channels. But what they were trying to do is find the provider, like, who's going to be the team to do this. And I think they're starting to find some clarity with that. You know, that's what I was kind of getting at with like client, you know, evolution. Like, I'm seeing that, you know, they're okay with going with like one consultant now, or, you know, no, we're going to use this guy just for website design. Can y'all talk? And, you know, all that kind of stuff back and forth. They used to be really hardcore about not doing that. You know, they wanted like a single vendor solution. And I think it hampered results.
There's
All right.
I got some super loud construction going on now outside of my Anaconda. I would agree with you, Ronnie. The downfall people are running into now, and that noise is horrific. Let me know. I can mute for a little bit. But the downfall now, though, is you need an overarching strategy. So I agree with you. Like, one shop can't do everything, but without that CMO, that chief marketing officer role, or that director of marketing, and someone really measuring the results at a high level, I think you can get trapped in little silos of work where the website team just kind of throws it up, but it's not congruent with ad campaigns they're running. So not taking away from that, I'm just saying that inherently that has challenges. And we work with a lot of business owners, a lot of medical practice, a lot of lawyers. And when we can get control of that strategy and then bring in people to play nice or help align it, because sometimes companies will play really nice, we achieve a lot more results. I'll say that. Right? You got to have that overarching strategy. And I find that people just hammer pockets.
Oh, yeah. You know, for sure. I mean, I think a good digital marketer is a good person to have doing your overall strategy if you don't have a marketing director in-house. But, you know, on the last show, I was solo, but I was talking about building a team. And I'm starting to see a lot more people adopt an in-house marketing director who then also manages the vendors like you and I, right, and can help bring us together. So that's a trend that I'm starting, you know, to see, and honestly, one that I think works really well. And, you know, in the last show, I was talking a lot about, you know, at what point you actually start that. And I think today it's becoming more and more important, as that should be one of the first hires that they make, because they can, you know, sort of bring us all together on this centralized strategy. And then make sure that everything gets properly executed, you know, both from deliverables and for benchmarks as well.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And to come at it from the other side, yes, you do come together. So you get a videographer, you get a copywriter, you get SEO, true search engine optimizations, highly specialized, cost a lot of money. And that would be an agency that does just that. The thing, though, that I like and we must have and mostly have is, unless there's like a someone really cracking at that strategy that gets it. I like to come in with our team and really set that strategy, because a lot of business owners, as you know, when they come to us, they're getting mediocre results or have been burned in the past.
Yeah. Okay. So let me ask you this. How has Create evolved?
Yeah, it's been really cool. So I have this, I love business now, right? I'm confident, if I had enough passion, I could go run a clay shooting pigeon business, or, any kind, because it's the principles, right? If you have sales and cash flow and profit, most problems are solvable. So with that mentality in mind, one other mantra I live by is I just fire myself. I'm super creative. I work super fast. I master things. So there's so much work that I got really good at and did well that took various amounts of time or stress. So I liked all that work. I mastered it. And then some things, like, I'm not a CPA. I totally do my taxes. I get financial strategy, but oh my God, was I never good at it. And not only that, I kind of barely had a CPA the first few years. So I've always fired myself, or as soon as I could afford it, hire people that were good at it. So my evolution, just in a quick 30,000 foot view, was really easy. I loved all the things I did. I love graphic design. I love coding. I love sales. I love making money, even though I don't want to do the taxes and work in QuickBooks. But coding took the most time. So the first thing I did was design on a project at the time, 5 hours, coding 30 or 40 hours. So I got coding off my plate pretty quickly. The next thing I got was a legit CPA and got some business strategies and stuff. And then the thing that I gave up last was the design, because the design's everything. The copyright is everything. So it took all the way to 2011. So I started in 2005. 2011 when I really got a designer that's fortunately still with us today. And then after that, and this is the most important hire almost for any small business, you got to get off the account management. As we got bigger, there were so many clients, so many little deliverables that staying on top of all that was difficult. And then the problem is, I've mastered it. I've got a lot of experience. I hire some junior affordable person. They kind of stumble around. We'll get into that later. But that was the effort. The things that took the most time and or caused the most stress, get them off the plate. And it's all doable. And my life has never, ever been better. I have an amazing leadership team now. It's 3-legged, and they're all pretty different, and they all do different things. They absolutely crush it. And now I just love doing business in general.
That's good. Us, I started out, when I restarted, I started out solo. And so I was not going to do a lot of the mistakes that I made in the past. And so when I restarted, I restarted with a theme. And so I wanted to be accessible, and I wanted the services to be accessible. And so that was sort of my top-down theme that dictated what I offered, how I offered it, the price point, all that stuff. And so, things ran along really good for 2 years. And then I made my first hire, who's Dania. And so she's been on this show numerous times. And so she's been phenomenal in terms of working with the clients, building digital campaigns, so on and so forth. And then I made, what I call a philosophical hire, I think, which was to bring someone in-house to market the agency. And, albeit a portion of that is on my shoulders every single week. What I tend to preach to people is that marketing is so important today, because it's more than just getting a click or the traffic coming to the website. I mean, it's all digital communication is sort of wrapped under that umbrella. And so, the first, like I said, sort of philosophical hire that I made was when we brought Casey on to really help with all of our marketing communication, so on and so forth. So, that was a big thing. That was a mistake that I initially made with my first agency. We waited too long to do that. So this time around, she's the second person on board.
It's funny. So this happened within the last couple of months. And of course, you and I, we work hand in hand. Our teams work together, and you and I meet strategically a couple times a month. So when you hire the marketing person, I didn't question it because I trust what you're doing. I was like, why do you hire that? He's got a lot of accounts, hiring another account manager. And I remember talking to my team, and the light bulb went on. Ronnie wants leads, right? And actually, what do most businesses struggle with? Literally getting leads. And competition years or so. Yeah, there was a reverse psychology. There was counterintuitive. I was like, Ronnie's got all these accounts. He's signing up accounts okay, and he's hiring a marketing person. But then I was like, he's not a stupid guy. What's up? And you just kind of explain what it is. And ironically, marketing is the last thing, and we're working on it. We haven't cracked it at Create Studios. Marketing for ourselves, not sales. Sales is like getting a proposal and closing a deal. It's a qualified lead, but getting qualified leads, yeah, that's a process. So I like how you did it first. That's literally in the order of things I've done. The last thing that we're finally getting our handle on.
Yeah. We waited like 5 years before we made a marketing hire at my first agency. And I mean, this guy was fantastic when he came on board, but I almost feel like it was a little late, and if we would have started sooner, I feel like we could have carved out.
What was it a mistake though? Because you guys flourished and had a ton of accounts. What was the mistake part of the pain that it caused, before you solved it by focusing on the marketing?
We were in a position to grab market share. And if we had better,
at least you missed that window.
Yeah. And so, because those things happen in cycles, right? So it's like you can't always just bust down the door and grab market share and all. And so at the time we were very much like, we were young, we were brash, we were real stupid, right? Like really good, cocky, stupid. A lot of all that attitude has like drastically changed with maturity. And I feel like if we had that person on board sooner, we could have sculpted a lot of the messaging that we were putting in.
So your whole brand and perception.
Yeah.
And we haven't really had to market for ourselves. For example, and listen carefully, those in the audience, you would think that advertising on Google AdWords and using all the strategies that we use for clients would work for us. For us, advertising in Google for Web Design Jacksonville, like ironically doesn't work. So it's funny getting in the marketing world because you got to figure out where your customers buy. Is it trade shows? Is it word of mouth? Do you support the word of mouth with direct mail, with a super detailed website? Or, as a click thing where, chiropractor, people search for it all the time, dentist, and you come right in. So that's funny. What I picked up on was, you didn't kind of know your brand or voice. You just know you guys showed up and you flew out to Denver. I know you went to Europe a lot. I think you worked with a country of Oman's tourism board way out in the Middle East. Yeah. So when you say you're at it, I believe it.
Yeah, we were, but given all of that, it would have been really helpful to us to have like a central marketer, right? To help kind of sculpt all of that, because there's a lot to marketing, right? There's press releases, there's, showing up in search, there's media appearances, there's speaking, thought leadership stuff, social media was coming up big at that time. That's something that we kind of whiffed on in the beginning, which wound up being very detrimental to us. And so I feel like if we have
that was a key point. You saw that coming and tried to turn your ship, but the ship, your company size was pretty big at the time. You kind of totally missed it, right? And was that y'all actually eventually shut it down or brought it to it was a good close, but a close?
Yeah. So, that closed and, too, like, we had to back out of that. When you were how we were, we can't just shut the door and like, hey, we're doing something else now. Like, we had to have a strategy and a plan, and it took a couple years, but, in hiring that person in-house, like having Casey now, man, it really allows us to experiment with a lot of different stuff marketing wise. And so that's been huge for us as an agency, because, you have to test out tone and platforms and, messaging types and all that kind of stuff. It's not as easy as everyone thinks. Like, you don't just make a bunch of videos and all. You really have to put thought behind what you're doing, and then have a process in place to monitor, results and make sure that what you're putting out is actually helpful to you. And so, that's how we've evolved here. I was very much like you. A lot of it was word of mouth, those strategic partners, and all that stuff, still holds true today, but we've added sort of this third component in, which was, I wanted to lead with education. And so, that's part of the inception of this show, and so on. And so,
and the reason it's brilliant was we were talking about how things changed from the 2000s till now. There's never been so many choices, so much confusion, and a lot of people can't tell you where the website call and the website form came from and what was the close rate, and it just baffles me. So I really like the approach you're taking now, because as we educate the clients better and we take them on this journey, because you do not just redesign a website. That's a multi-month process. You do not just throw up a Facebook campaign and throw $500 in that, or you do not post on social 4 times a month and honestly get any results out of the game. Of course, the needle moves, but I like the education piece, because marketing, right, it's a marathon, not a sprint. And as strategies are changing. And I love how, you truly use yourself as the guinea pig, and that's becoming true for us as well. But you will go out there and test the heck out of it. And of course, you have another business on the side that you get to do all the experiments on. Well.
Yeah, that's been a big, it's been a big thing. And so, I think that kind of leads to another question, which is like, what's the benefit of the agency model versus going in-house and single freelancer? And we've kind of been talking about this. We've talked a little bit about how clients have evolved. We've talked about how we've evolved. Today, the agency model, I feel like, is evolving. We're also competing with things like Upwork and sites like that tap you into single freelancers. But, in your opinion, what's the big benefit of a client going with an agency?
Okay, so two categories of people, and most will fall in the second category. The first category is you're a bigger business. You've done marketing of some sorts for a while, and you can afford a marketing director, and you're decent enough at hiring someone that kind of has a clue. If you have your marketing director just kind of learning each strategy or throwing up campaigns, that's not. So some businesses are mature and they're really good at selecting vendors. So they really will be like, hey, we're a chiropractor in 3 cities and we need massive SEO. But a lot of businesses aren't that mature in their marketing, including us. We don't have full-time marketing person, and we do it in-house. But most businesses would highly benefit from being super selective and getting an agency or someone like yourself, Ronnie, who will sit on the same side of the table with them, who will call a spade, and will just show progress over time. And what happens is you just get in a trusted relationship, and you deal with the strategies that don't work and you continually evolve it, and that's really fruitful. And if you hire the right agency, particularly agency we only do digital, but everything's kind of digital, so we can handle that whole side of the house. So if you have a little intern there, we can queue them up and give them the strategy for the email newsletter. If someone in-house can write content or blogs, we can help get that on the website. So we can work hand in hand. But a lot of times, like you said, there's email marketing, there's social media, there's SEO, there's paid ads on channels. So that's a wild and crazy world. So benefit of going with an agency, one that you qualify, one that you vet, and one that's going to actually show you where the form fills, the website leads, and the phone calls came from. Yeah, you're going to win, because most of us don't have, as a company, $300,000 to hire a $90,000 marketing person and a person under them and then have all this ad spend. So working with an agency, you can leave at any time, and it's honestly not that much money. For say $1,000, you and I can start moving that needle. And once that needle moves, you buy a few other things. So yeah, from a cost perspective, it's easy to start up an agency, stop, and buy the right amount of services.
Yeah. Some of the benefits that I think, and I'm experiencing this now too, because Jeff's team is redesigning our site at soundmarketing.com. And so, one of the things, specific to your team is I feel like I'm getting some type of think tank style, ideation, right? And so where it's not just, me telling them what I want, it's like, you have Steph on the team, you have Jess on the team, Hanio is on there, who's actually doing the design, but it's good. I love getting their opinions, and they're bringing additional ideas to the table. And so if you weren't an agency and you didn't have that group of people, I don't feel like you would get that, depth of knowledge, right, about your project. when you hire just a single freelancer, they definitely have their place, but when you hire just a single freelancer, you better vet a lot of them and make sure that they're a good fit for your organization, because they're going to have like a single philosophy focus, right?
And that can be okay. In the cases where it would be okay is we're going to a trade show. We've done banners or display booths forever. Yeah, go to a trade show company or a photo shoot. Yeah, you don't need to pay a premium for that. Like if you can't afford it and you don't want to deal with the hassle, yeah, have the agency find a photographer. There's definitely a case, copywriting, photography, video, sometimes search engine optimization is real specific. So yeah, I'm with you on there. And I do like that think tank approach, though. That's where we really excel, honestly, because we do right by the clients. I mean, Ronnie, you've been doing digital ads for us, and honestly, for Web Design Jacksonville, it's not a strategy that's working. Yet you and I are running ads and have ran ads a couple months, and we now honed in that ad campaign to focus on retargeting and take some of that effort and spend and put it in other areas, and that's a beautiful thing. So I'm just thankful right now for that collaboration we have and all those results we bring to the clients, and it gets better and better and better.
Oh yeah. 100%. This kind of leads into talking about our individual teams as well. And I do want to know, how you initially hired. You kind of gave us a window into that. Who you hired and why. But how's the team changed over time? So would you still have taken that same approach, or would you take a different approach now? Or, are you looking for different people in a different way now? That sort of thing.
Yeah. So I actually really like the hiring process. While I'm not an HR person, psychology. Oh, I love it.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't run HR and benefits and time off. Like we have a person that does that, but getting the right person in the door, I love it. And here's why. I'm gonna see these people every day, 40 hours a week.
Yeah.
And my God, do people get annoying. And the worst thing any business can do, and every business does it, is hire a bunch of average players. Average is the worst. Hopefully you're not stupid enough to hire someone that can't do the job, but average is this. They come in, they're all fired up. They're hitting a B. They have a glimpse of an A-. We're talking grades, right? A to F. And then you don't watch, or they want to milk vacation, or they start coming in late. And so what do you do with that C player? You give them a little snap. The good ones get it real quick, knock up to an A, but next thing you know, they slide down. And when they slide down or they get comfortable or they figure out the patterns and culture of the organization, they turn into D players or just flat drop the ball and don't have the trade show booth ready, and it's a crisis. So I abhor average thinkers, and we're a small team. If you added up all the numbers, there's around 10 of us, but I've done a ton of hiring, and I look for the best. And so why don't you take it while these
okay, sure. So so I don't enjoy hiring as much as Jeff, and so I did it a lot at our first agency, and it's really this last round, I really developed a new appreciation for an HR team, so my hat's off to everyone who's in HR, because it's a tough, grueling process, to just put stuff out there. I've been lucky that I've found people through other people, right? And not have had to just, go on endless interview after interview. What I've done is do more like a 60-day trial sort of thing to make sure that they like, being here. They like the style of clients that we have. They like the hours, the office, all that kind of stuff. Because I absolutely do not want someone to be here who doesn't want to be here. Right. And so you can sniff that out pretty quick.
But hopefully you never have someone in the seat that doesn't work out.
Oh yeah, exactly. And so, culture and fit, I talked about that a lot in the last video, and I think it's just so important. So, Dania was the first hire that I made at Soud Marketing, the first employed hire. Casey was the second. And I think, they get along great, and the three of us get along great. And we have three very like-minded individuals, all work hard, all like giving their 2 cents, right? There's no ego in it. really. So, because we oftentimes ask each other if we like this idea or that, or, and so it's been really great having them on, not just to expand, but to also make the work better. So I think we're doing better work now than when I was solo and scaling, of course, because Dania and Casey are able to, build, come up with ideas, give great ideas on expansion, scaling. I think our ad creative is better now than it was, definitely way better now, thanks to Dania, than it was, because she has a lot more of an artistic eye. And it's great too, to be able to jump. And, if we're really in a pickle, to have access to Jeff's team, to really take us up a few notches for that as well. So, that's a little window into like how we've hired and evolved. I would say a little bit into the culture that we have here. I'm really proud, and I love working with both of them,
Yeah, I want to jump in here because this is something I'm super passionate about, because now in my role, I don't code websites. I don't send invoices. I don't write SOWs. I don't do the finances. I'm aware from a strategic perspective, and we have amazing dashboards to measure the metrics. I look at the business as we're flying a commercial airliner across the country. We need to know our destination. We need to know where our stops are. We need to know fuel level. And heck, most people in their life don't know if we're leaving from Jacksonville and flying west, whether they're going to Southern California, Canada, or South America, which just is asinine in my opinion. So we really do a good job at that. What I will say, and this is the most powerful hiring tip I've ever learned, I never stopped using it. And honestly, any business owner or anyone who has to even hire a babysitter, maybe not a babysitter, could use it, but I ask in every job interview, or every application, they're detailed job descriptions. Let's just say you're hiring a project manager. One bullet in there, I say, this is a pop quiz for your attention to detail. Please answer what 15 plus 2 is. So I ask, and I worded that a little mumble, but I ask what 15 plus 2 is, and I say, put it at the top of your cover letter in the subject line. And so literally I'll go on Indeed.com, because digital marketing, who doesn't want to do it? We have a killer picture. And I just look for 17. And if I don't see 17, I don't interview them. So I literally have done the math. I've gotten 65 for a personal assistant. 6 people put 17. And then furthermore, if they're client facing, we're digital. We do Zoom meetings. So I literally have them send a video, and I do 3 questions like, hey, tell us a little bit about yourself, why you should hire the job, and whatever. Well, guess how many people won't send a friggin' interview and answer 15 plus 2? All of them. So I stopped doing the video because we would kind of undercut some people. If they're 26 and they don't have that much experience, the video could be a little intimidating, even though they might be really good. But I do 2 things. I do the 15 plus 2, and then I do a quick screen. And from there, it's pretty easy to suss them out, because once again, you spend a ton of time with these people. Your business life is on the line. I tell the team, I don't pay you. The clients pay you. It's true. Yeah. So it's paramount. And I believe in anything, maybe except like an easy sales job or something like that, if there's such a thing. The attention to detail is paramount. So once again, deep in that job interview, put 15 plus 2. And if they can't answer that and can't read a 3-page document, geez, don't talk to me.
That's a good tip,
Insane.
I want to ask you this too. What do you do specifically to help build culture and help further their knowledge base, like continuing education wise? What do y'all do in-house there?
Yeah, so honestly, I love business coaching and psychology and self-development. On the side, I'm mentoring millennial entrepreneurs now, so it's a passion of mine. But
one second. I'm asking this because I feel like a lot of agencies, they put like a ping pong table in the office, and then that, like, they think they're creating culture like that. And they're not. It's just bullshit. So that's why I'm really curious about how you build culture and do continuing education for them.
Yeah, so it goes back to this, like, the team's busy and they got to work day to day. But if you don't evolve things, if you don't evolve the books you read, the people you surround yourself with, your skills at work, I can predict where your bank account will be. If there's an economic meltdown, you may not have a job. If it's a standard you may get a 3 or 4% raise. So what we do is we recognize that doing things as we did today is not enough. So we invest in the psychology of things. How can we have a big, hairy, audacious goal? We have one for this year, and that's to have 85% of our revenue recurring. Started out 62%. And so what we do is siphon off hours with the team and just get them highly motivated on spending the time on things, on tackling things in their area that are going to help us achieve that goal. I find that knowing what to do is easy. If you're an AC company, you know that the vendors are selling you the heck out of ACs. If you're digital marketing, like Google will show you how to run text ads. It will give you a certification. So, and then two, we don't adopt the bleeding edge. We're here in Jacksonville, Florida, and like people don't even want to buy the new stuff because everybody's like, oh, you're in technology, it changes too quick. Honestly, I could be running the business like it was 4 years ago and people would still be buying it. So to me, finding out what to do or how to train and getting that training is the easy part, but actually having the team spend time on it, having them be motivated about it. And then we don't stop there. It's work-life harmony, right? Are you staying active? Are you in motion? Are you taking a walk? Are you getting in nature? Do you have hobbies? So we'll tie in all that stuff, and it turns out to be really fun. So that's the practical way that we ensure that the information we have today is continually evolving. We're looking ahead to tomorrow. We ensure that when we set a project goal that's outside of the normal day-to-day of what we're responsible for, we'll literally be like, hey, everybody's got to spend 2 hours a week, and we'll have a little weekly huddle, and you go in and go, did you do your 2 hours on that practice stuff and task? And then draw a line in the sand for the fun stuff. Here's an ironic thing. Only one person on our team works 40 hours a week. I've never worked more than 40 hours. I got into the low 30s, and now I literally work 13 to 15 hours a week in the agency. So this whole concept of like, you got to like slave till you make it is not true. And you're like, well, what do you do when you get busy? Well, we hire another person that wants to work 30 or 35 hours. So we built this easy come, easy go culture. We measure it by results and dashboard. People are self-starters. We're always about progress and forward thinking. And then we have fun. So by happenstance, I'm in marketing. So there's a lot of females and younger millennials in there. And, our creative director's in Ocala, so we'll go run an Airbnb. Our creative director does all these art things in Ocala, so we'll go down there. We'll throw super fun happy hours. And honestly, the people in my work, honestly, I would take them to anywhere in my life. I'd take them to a funeral. I'd take them to meet my grandma. I'd take them to meet anyone.
Yeah.
They're the coolest people. They really are. And so we have this mindset and ethos. And as the culture develops, like, you know, it's like a splinter if someone's not in it, because over time the agency changes and people max out. They don't want to grow anymore. They don't want to step up. So I find when you build a solid culture, you know, you'll splinter things out that don't belong. So honestly, that's been the game, keeping that psychological perspective, keeping everybody motivated, good mindset. And my team, we know how to, like, you know, present cleanly and also have a little fun. So honestly, it's a blast. We honestly really love each other, and every now and then we throw that out, and that's so special. Yeah, you spend so much time with the people you work with. Like, make it. You have control. You're the owner. You hire people. Do it right.
Right. Yeah. You know, one of the big things that, you know, I have two themes here. You know, one is accessibility. That's more of a client facing theme, and how I wanted to build and structure the business from the ground up. The other is one of experimentation and not being afraid to be wrong, or, you know, trying something and, you know, really leaving that, that, you know, mentality of, well, it better be right, or, you know, it's not on brand, or, you know, why'd you spend this money, or kind of, you know, leaving that, you know, to the wayside.
Well, that's punitive, right? We don't like to wake up every day feeling like we're going to get punished, right? So I like how you have this more positive, like, let's grow, let's work together, let's be accessible to the client, right?
Yeah.
You know, grow things.
And two, you know, using ourselves for experimentation, I think is one of the big things that differentiates us and helps them with continuing education, helps me with continuing education too, right? So I hate when companies pitch stuff that they haven't tried themselves, or they haven't put skin in the game themselves. That's something that I really pride myself on. And honestly, something that, you know, both Casey and Dania can, you know, go into battle, right? When they're talking with a client, you know, they can go into the room knowing that they've hands-on done this or that, or, you know, we've had to pivot, that didn't work, you know, but it was okay, we tried it. And, you know, talking from that level of experience, right? And so giving them free reign on all that, you know, I think has been a real game changer.
Yeah. And it's funny, just a quick disclaimer. I don't talk a lot about the service delivery, but we've been in this so long and it changes honestly slowly. Like Google Text Ads have been out forever, and while there's a million more buttons, which makes it harder when you're setting up a campaign. So yeah, so we definitely deliver the results, but I don't find that's the struggle. I find it's like the open communication with the clients, the willingness to experiment, and also always produce for results. We don't sell a website and go in the dark, right? So yeah, that's important to like have. If you don't have a good product and service, you know, you're running dance classes, a chiropractic office or whatever, you're not going to have a business. I don't care what you do. Like no one's going to you. So I to me, it's assumed that you're going to deliver the best product and service. And frankly, in our world, it's pretty easy. I mean, anyone can get in the web design. You can do a few clicks right now and get one up. So all the information is easily out there. It's just a matter of harnessing that. And as we were talking earlier, how things have evolved, bringing the best thinking and the best results to the clients.
So let's end on this real quick. What are some current website design industry trends? And then where do you think it's going over the course of the next 3 years?
Yeah, next 3 years. So I'm loving mobile. I'm loving sites that load fast, they're easy to use, and that have just really clear and concise content. So mobile design is paramount. That's one thing. Two, I love original photos and imagery and branding. You might be like, well, we're a construction company, build roadways. Well, JB Coxwell is one of the biggest construction companies in Jacksonville. Go to jbcoxwell.com. They invested in drones. The leadership team that didn't want to take any photos has all these cool JB Coxwell hats, and we set them up. Like, you can just go there. So to separate yourself, a great mobile layout, very functional, not having to scroll through a bunch of stuff to get to what you need. Original photos and videos will transform any website. And then, I don't know, lastly, there's just a bajillion tactics out there. I mean, I just gave you an example of one that doesn't work for us. Ironically, coming up for Web Design Jacksonville, it's just web design's commoditized and it costs a lot per click. So finding those strategies that really work for you. And I would wrap that up in this. So good mobile design, good quality website, easy to get to, original photos and videos. And I would say the third thing is work with the customer base you have, right? You can do an email database. You can put a little cookie on your website. So when people come to your site, whether they came from a trade show or they were talking to you and looked it up, your little ad will follow them around. So I think every business, good website, original content, photography and videos. And then two, working with that customer base you have on like referrals, offering them new services, running remarketing ads. So once they visit your website and they're just kind of curious and shopping, they're never going to buy on one touch. Your little ad pops around. Businesses right there, boom. They could just get so much more. And we've done that for ourselves, Ronnie. So we know the power of that.
Yeah. One thing that, you know, I think the investment in photos and video is going to be twofold. You know, I think it's going to be for the website. And I think for social, people are going to need it. So, you know, all of you, you know, freelance photographers, videographers out there, you know, I would say get your service offerings down pat, you know, come up with good value, because like Jeff said, you know, that's a current trend. It's not going to go away. If anything, I feel like that's going to evolve on the websites, you know, maybe more than like, you know, the actual website back itself.
We're trying to end here, but I think you would totally agree with me on this. Like, video is paramount, and video is the thing that's hardest to make, and you don't need the highest quality videos. But I don't know about you, Ronnie, we don't want to like read stuff anymore unless it's like some, you know, journal like thing we're really trying to read. So, and then photos, like if a picture is worth 1,000 words, how much is a video worth? So I would say, Ronnie, video, more video.
Yeah, 100%, you know. So
what's this like? Is this a video?
yeah, exactly. So, you know, all of these go on my site. So Anything else in closing? We covered agency evolution, dealing with clients, how you and your services have evolved, and then sort of like where people should be on the lookout with to reinvest their dollars to improve their website experience.
Yeah, this was epic. Ronnie, you're a dear friend of mine and business partner in many ways. So yeah, if you out there in the audience, whether you're a freelancer, a little content creator, a business owner, come talk to us. We're really generous with our time. And if we can't help, we'll point you in the right direction. And also we call a spade a spade. So we're here for you. Our teams are here from you, and we'd love to talk to you.
Sure. All right, guys. Thank you for watching. If you need Jeff, you can find him on social media at Jeff Vin. His name's right there up on the screen. And also his website, Create Web Studios. I will link it in the comments below. But thank you guys for watching, and check back next week. I'll be back with another awesome episode. Bye.